South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza. If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry-aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome in. Thanks so much for checking it out. This is Sports by the Book. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino the day after the big game. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed Super Bowl 60. Hopefully, you cashed some tickets. So we're trying to help everybody do here on the show. I'm Alex White alongside Ryan McCormick, and joining us, as he always does on Mondays, Sportsbook Director here at the South Point, Chris Andrews. Welcome in, both of you.
Thank you.
Overall, what did you? How did the books end up doing yesterday?
And, we did good. It wasn't great, but it was good overall. We a couple of little things hurt us towards the end. The defensive touchdown really killed us, and we book a lot of teasers here. We have the best teaser prices in town, and we've had a great year booking teasers. But I was telling Michael before the game, so we really got to break out of that teaser bracket. And we did for the most part, but that last touchdown put the teaser total in play, and I mean, it's one game, so there's
right.
A lot of teasers going to the total. So that hurt. So those last 2 touchdowns, relatively meaningless, we could say. They were far from meaningless for us. They cost us quite a bit.
Ryan, you have any questions for Chris regarding how the books did and everything?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of learned early last week that A.J. Barner was going to be a big liability for you guys. So how did that actually end up resulting?
Yeah. How did it end up? Not good. How's that? No, it was one of those. I mean, I made the mistake. It's on me, 100%. But, every once in a while you make a mistake and you get away with it. I did not get away with it this time. So that one cost us pretty good.
Was there any sweat? Because we had talked about it on last week's Football Frenzy with Jay here too, going back to that Rams-Patriots Super Bowl where you guys were kind of sweating out the no touchdowns. Were you guys a little concerned with that as we were going deeper into the game?
Oh, yeah. But I to tell you the truth, I kind of learned my lesson a little bit. It would have hurt. It wouldn't have been like unbelievably painful. It definitely would have hurt. But I've kind of softened my stance because I know, like, listen, I mean, I know it's a Super Bowl, but I mean, crazy stuff happens in football games, all kind of games, But so I didn't extend myself too much on that, but it definitely would have hurt.
Well, and I was kind of kicking myself. It looked like Myers had a shot to actually win the MVP where he was had so many points for Seattle. So final score 29-13. And I thought he might be in the running
I can see it.
for MVP. Yeah. What about the total? How'd you guys do with just total? I know the Sharps did like the under.
Yeah.
But you guys were pretty balanced getting the public money with the over, right?
Yeah, well, the combination was good for us. Favorite covers and the game stays under. So there, you always have to look at the combination, and this one was played in our favor pretty good. If you just look at the game itself, just the game, I mean, we did really well, and then some other things. We got beat on the parlay card, which is unbelievable. Yeah, it's so hard to win that card. Well, we got beat on the parlay card. The props were okay, not like great, but I mean, we held a decent percentage, and the futures were terrific.
Yeah.
So overall, I mean, no complaints. But like I said, if you just isolate the game itself, and the numbers were actually really good.
What did you think of the game itself?
Well, we talked about it, and actually I've been talking about it probably for the last month, maybe even a little bit more. But once you get to this point in the season, you have to look at defense first. And, now I think New England had a good defense. As a matter of fact, their defense kept them in that game. But there's no doubt who had the best defense probably in the entire league. And we had talked about it for a while. It was, Houston was right up there. Denver had a very good defense. But I don't think anybody had a better defense than Seattle. And I'm gonna tell you how I kind of evolved. If you look at past Super Bowls, well, I grew up, cherishing the Steelers of the '70s, big defensive team. Okay, and they won 4 Super Bowls. Then you go into the '80s, and as great as Joe Montana was, which he was, they also had a great defense. Then you get to that Cowboy team in the '90s. Again, great defense. But where I really learned was the year Carolina with Cam Newton played Denver. Okay. And I have to tell you, you look through all the numbers, I'm like, boy, Carolina's going to kill this team. And I wound up talking. I mentioned my Uncle Jack a million times, one of the sharpest guys I've ever met. He told me, he says, I'm telling you right now, defense will control that game. He says, you have to look at defense first. Now, what's that, like 2014 maybe?
I think it was 15.
15?
Yeah, 2014, 2015 season.
So quite a while ago. So he told me that. And he says, when you get this part down to this end of the season, you better look at defense first. Now, sometimes it's equal, I mean, and you have to judge from there. But you have to look at defense first when you get into these playoffs. And I think this is a perfect example of how defense ruled the day. And even like in the Denver New England game, I mean, that defense kept them in the game. So I think you have to look at defense first and keep that in mind when you're handicapping in the future. Now, I'm not talking about a game in the middle of October.
Right.
I'm talking about once we get down to playoffs when it's really, the nuts and bolts. You have to look at defense first.
It's ironic that you bring up that Super Bowl because I was comparing the total to that Super Bowl. This was the lowest one that we have seen since that one, and that was a very low-scoring game. I think Carolina only scored 12 points, and I was kind of comparing it to this one to that one with Seattle. So that is funny that you bring that up with looking at Denver's defense and then the Seahawks just yesterday.
Yeah, and let's not forget, they still had Peyton Manning, which, and Peyton would be the first to tell you, the defense carried the team, even though he's got a Super Bowl ring for it. But he'll tell you, he was not at his best. He was far from that. But he's still Peyton Manning, and he knew how to not blow the game. And again, we look at Sam Darnold yesterday. He was not great, but he executed exactly what he had to do. And, I mean, listen, the whole world, I think, feels good for Sam Darnold right now. But he was not great yesterday, and he really hasn't been great for a while. He played a great game against the Rams. But other than that, if you look like the last 5-6 weeks, he's been somewhat mediocre. But he executed properly. He did what he had to do to win the game, and I think kudos to him for doing exactly that.
Did what he had to do, did not turn the ball over, and
right.
His defense did 3 times, turned over Drake May. So you're right. Let them step up and do what they've been doing all year long. first team, right, to not have any turnovers throughout the
playoffs.
Throughout the playoffs.
Which, and again, Sam had more turnovers than anybody all year.
Right.
But once the playoffs came, I think, again, I'm sure coaching had a lot to do with it, but he understood, just go out, execute the way we're supposed to, and we could win this thing.
Pretty cool to see Mike McDonald too get that Super Bowl after he was calling the plays on the defensive side, and a lot of chatter about that where hadn't seen a head coach do that. Whereas mostly the offensive guys, if they were going to be calling the plays, but
I don't think we've ever seen that.
I think it was the first, the first time.
But a lot of credit too to John Schneider, the GM. He made fantastic moves. When they got rid of Russell Wilson, they showed they got 4 key players, first and second round draft choices in that trade that all were instrumental in that win yesterday.
It's incredible because now 2 Super Bowls and no turnover. He built 2 completely different teams in that span. But Kenneth Walker, MVP, did you have any tickets there? I know Ryan, he did give that out too.
Yeah,
so
that
he
rat
had that
nailed
one.
us. No, actually, we did pretty good with him getting the MVP. That was a good result for us.
I got to imagine because it's been a while. I think it's 98 since the last running back to win that award. But he did. I mean, he had almost 100 yards in that first half.
Oh yeah. You could see at halftime he was. If we were booking in-game MVP, he would have been odds on. I think at that point, he got to the outside too, which is something that New England all year was preached against letting people get to the outside, but he got to the outside. Again, kudos to the blocking schemes and the offensive play calling from Kubiak, but Walker as well. He showed the speed and he is the most patient runner, I think,
in a while.
They said since Le'Veon Bell. I'm going back to Franco Harris. He's really a patient runner and picks his holes. Did a fantastic job.
And there was a narrative out there. I know when Westgate opened up, and people line up to go make their bets and come back around. I know a lot of people there that were hammering his under rushing yards.
Yeah.
And I was trying to bet against it and make the case that, Derrick Henry, James Cook, some of the top running backs really could run on this New England team. But I don't know. It was crazy how many people were willing to bet on his under there. And he did find a way.
I can tell you right now, we did not do good on running back props.
No.
So somebody got us. So I'm not sure. I wish some of those Westgate guys would have come over here because we got nailed pretty good on running back props.
Yeah, I am surprised with that. It's very interesting when you hear how books get bet so differently.
They're all different. Yeah. I mean, it's it's a big market anymore, and I think overall, if you look at a huge picture, they're probably pretty similar. But when you're talking one game, it's just they could be tremendously diverse, the outcomes.
Overall, Chris, the NFL season this year, how was it for you guys?
It was good. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Last year was not a good season. Last year was one of the worst I've ever had. And I've been doing this. Well, I've been running books since 81. I've been involved since 79. I think I'm trying to look back. I think it was 04 I had a bad year. And then last year I had a bad year. But other than that, most of the years have been pretty good. And then this last year was pretty good.
Any other big winners for the public? You said parlay cards. Those are probably some sharps, right?
Yeah. Not really. No. It was very much the public that got us. So, what are you going to do? I mean, it's one of those. We had a great year with parlay cards. Last year, we did not have a great year with parlay cards. And I kept telling, the powers that be above, I said, that last year's an aberration. Oh, are you sure? I said, trust me, it's an aberration. And this year we had a fantastic year with parlay cards, but you know how it is. They are always going to remember that last one, and we got nailed pretty good yesterday.
Ryan, anything else for Chris before we look ahead? I know we kind of flashed it last week with looking at next year's odds, but we do want to do that with you again here. But anything else to put a bow on this game?
Yeah, I guess kind of just going back to the defense and really how those props resulted for you. So you talked about on Friday, Drake May being the quarterback to not have a good night last night. And really the pass rush for the Seattle Seahawks really stood up. They got over their team sack total and over the combined sack total by themselves. You also had the originally called a strip sack,
Oh, yeah.
overturned to be a pick six, and another interception there. So the Seahawks sacks and the interception props, how did those go for you?
Not good. Not good at all.
Okay.
Yeah, those hurt. The interception's over, and of course, a defensive touchdown. Like I said, I talked about that. And then the sacks. I thought that was a really high number. I try not to have a big opinion on that because I know a lot of these guys that are out there do a lot more homework than I do. But I thought that was a lot of sacks. But you could see early on. I mean, they were getting to Drake May. I mean, and I know I've been watching some of the talking heads this morning. I guess it's the left side of that New England line that, tackle particularly,
Yeah.
but guard as well. And I know they tried to draft to fill those holes.
They were both rookies.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if they're going to improve and they need to maybe sign a veteran or get into that draft again because that was really one of the things. And while we're on the subject, let's talk about that too. I look at defense first, but you have to look at offensive line. And again, going back a couple years, that Kansas City game where they played Tampa, and the whole world was on Kansas City in that game, but they were missing their 2 tackles, and you could see it from early on. I mean, Tampa, never let Mahomes get comfortable, and Tampa won that game, relatively easily. And again, and that's one of those things that people tend to overlook is the offensive line. And it definitely, overlooking that was not the smartest thing to do yesterday. I can tell you that.
Ryan and I both did have the sacks going over. That was actually my prop that I gave on Captain Jack's show,
was it?
which was that's a phenomenal concept. I love that he does that and has everybody sign up in their slot, and it's run so smooth. And yours got there too. You gave out the alt lines.
I gave out the alt line, but my one prop I gave out was will either team score 3 consecutive times? And it's one of those, and I don't know the exact number. Why I talked to Jack about it on the air. I said, I think the number probably should be like about 220. The favorite should be 220-ish, maybe 240, somewhere in that range. And here, you could lay $1.65. And, just the public thinks, it's really a big sucker bet. But the public thinks, oh, nobody's going to score 3 straight times. But, somebody explained to me one time that first score is like a gimme. Everybody's going to score. So it's really 2 straight times. You know what I'm saying? It just obviously depends on how you look at it. But that first score is a gimme, and here it was 9-0, before you knew it, and that one cashed. So I gave that out. So that was my one prop I gave out. But I did tell Jack I had Seattle -4.5, -7.5, -10.5. And then I made a very small bet on Darnold to win MVP, but I didn't like it. And I even talked about it on the show. I thought there was too many other possibilities for Seattle.
Yeah,
Did not have to be a quarterback-driven game for them to win that game.
So you had a good overall day.
I personally had a very good day. Yeah.
Any more with kind of diving into the props and what you guys had?
Listen, it's like all kind of stuff. Some were good and some were bad. And I got my sheet with me. Like I said, the team props, which is a lot of alternate point spreads, those worked out really well. Like I said, the running back props not so good. The quarterback props were actually very good for us.
Were they? What about attempts and completions?
I don't have all the.
Okay.
I don't have every
you just
single
have
one. I haven't gone through. We're going to go through that one probably right after this show. But
when you said outlines, was there a lot of money on Patriots winning and covering? Like, did people lay a number with the Patriots?
You know what was one of the most popular bets? And I bet the other way. I bet Seattle -7.5.
Right.
And took plus money. People were taking New England plus the 7.5. That was one of the most popular wise guy bets. I mean, we got pounded on that. Now, we wound up, the public was on the -7.5, but the wise guys were all over the plus 7.5. That wound up being a very good prop for us.
Well, that does make sense because thinking about a low scoring game, they're thinking they're getting a touchdown and the hook here. So I could see, and looks like you guys had -160. So they were.
Oh, we were all over the place though with that one. That's probably what we closed it, or I don't know if that's the opener or the closer. but we were all over the place. That thing moved a ton.
Wow, that being one of a big decider for you.
Well, like I said, I went the other way, So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was looking at in-game throughout and seeing, I mean, books were trying. They're 12.5 with the Patriots. And then I heard a lot of people, though, playing in-game, continuing to lay big prices with Seattle when they saw New England really couldn't move the ball in the first half.
We had the exact opposite. Our in game was really good.
Was it?
Yeah, and we had a lot of guys that kept. Well, one thing a lot of them bet under, and that
yeah.
various totals. And the thing, what was the final 42? Is that what?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it kind of snuck over. I said those last 2 touchdowns. I wish it wouldn't have snuck over, but it did. What are you going to do? But we had a lot of money on the unders. Probably what helped us a lot on the in game.
How did receiver props go? Because I know New England probably wasn't what people expected with Mac Hollins being the leader for New England and then Douglas the second one. So I got to imagine there was a lot of digs and some others.
Wide receiver props. We made $700, so not very significant, But we had, we had a ton of action. I mean, a lot of action. And while they're making $700, what are you gonna do?
You'll stay right there. I think Westgate actually they had the original. Going back to your prop that you like. Will a team score 3 consecutive times? I think they added a 4 this year.
Really?
Yes.
Did the 4 would have hit?
I think it would have hit, actually. So getting a plus price for a team to score 4.
We book it every week. We do, we have props for like Thursday night and Sunday night and Monday. So we book it every week. It's usually.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even notice that.
So usually, it's like about 190. And I know, I hate to say I'm kind of robbing the public because I know they're going to bet the no, but the real price is probably closer to 220. And I can tell you, again, I don't want to say the name, but, we had a ton of money on the no. And one of the ultra sharp guys came in at the end and bet the yes. And I moved it all the way up. And Ashley, she's probably listening, goes, you moved that up where you're actually booking even money. I says, I understand that. But believe me when I tell you, when he bet, I know we're on the right side here. So that actually was a really good prop for us. But,
wow.
But we book that every week. But, some people are going to listen to me, obviously, but the bulk of people will say, no, they won't score 3 straight times. And I'm getting plus money on that. Are you kidding me? Well,
Well, I listened to you 2 years ago because I even said it on Frank's show. I was like, that looks kind of tempting, that plus price there. And Frank said, Chris just came in here and said that's a sucker bet. And then ever since I've been following and paying attention. And Eagles last year and then again.
It comes out way more often than you think.
I believe it. I definitely do. Do you, I actually just heard on Get Up Football, they were talking about, we kind of had the same game that we did last year, just Seattle or the Eagles were scoring touchdowns, right? And Seattle was settling for field goals early on. Would you say that's pretty accurate? Well,
I guess it depends on how you look at it. I think when you look at the game, I kind of admire the New England defense. I thought it would have been very easy for them to kind of fold up shop.
Yeah.
Now, like I had Seattle, and once I got to about 9-0, I was like really confident. But I also know crazy stuff can happen. One touchdown, all of a sudden, all my bets go away. And then they really kind of kept it within 2 scores, which, 2 scores in a football game, that can happen really easily. So I give their defense a lot of credit. And I think it was different from last year in that sense, because they did hold Seattle to a lot of field goals. How many field goals did they have? 5?
Yep.
Is that what? 5?
Yep.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of those were in the 40 range. They weren't like on the doorstep of a touchdown. But still, that defense came up big a lot of times when it had to. And I'm not sure Kansas City's did last year. They kind of, not that they fell apart, but I think, Philly was clearly the right side from early on. And I think Seattle was the right side here, even though, like I said, I give New England credit for hanging in there defensively.
You know what kind of tips the whole game is that defensive touchdown. We saw it
That was huge.
both last year and this year, but it was early on for the Eagles, right? And then
God, I can't remember last year. It's hard for me to
it was
remember.
in that first half, but
Yeah.
so 2 years in a row, we might not get such a good number on that next year. Or
Not
moving
if I'm
forward.
here. You won't.
Ryan, anything else that you wanted to ask Chris about?
I guess not quite. It would just be more conversation about kind of how things kind of turned for that New England defense when that first interception happened. At least in my mind, they were still able to force a field goal, make it a 15-point game, and then Drake May gets sacked again or throws another interception, and that results in the touchdown and really kind of blows things open. So, yeah, it would really just kind of further in your guys' points.
Yeah, those were all bad. Yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted there for a second. I wanted to see what the handle was because, like I said, it's going to be. I thought it'd be about 70% on the props,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm looking. And let me get a little more accurate picture here. It's probably was not quite that high. It's probably about 60%.
Wow.
On the props as opposed to the game. So I'm sorry I got distracted there, but that was something I did want to bring up. But the prop action was really strong, but we had a couple of big bets on the games too. So that tended to skew it. But overall, I thought it would be closer to 70%. It was more like 60% on the props.
So on Friday, we had Vinny and Jay Cornegay here, and you guys were talking about the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
You would see most of the action. Did that hold up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and I know Sean went around and took some film of all the parties, and I walked around, and I mean, this place was just buzzing. And, I certainly like to think that the sports book is a big part of that, really, using the minus 105. And of course, the other stuff that South Point does is by far the best drink prices in town, by far the best food prices in town, huge setups. And, we had, a couple private parties, but like the open party in the big room. And you're looking, oh no, that's actually the sports book right there. And, everything free with, Michael Gaughan does things very old school, and he learned that from his dad, Jackie Gaughan, listen, I know some of these places, that's not the way they do it, but I mean, this really works well for us, and I can't comment on anybody else. So I see some of the stock prices in some of these aren't doing so good, the publicly traded companies. But here you can see that's the big room. I don't even think that's the big room. That was that's the ballroom.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's not our biggest part, but you can see TVs everywhere. And, we have, writers all over the place and kiosks, and we really try to make it convenient. And here's the thing I would say about that, in other places, I know, again, not to mention anybody in particular, but, some of the strip places charge $900 for a seat.
Yeah.
$900 for a seat. By doing things the way we do, you retain those customers. You make a customer. This guy's your customer now. And, and I remember I worked for Warren Nelson, who actually was best friends with Jackie Gaughan. And Warren said, he says, a guy comes in with $10. He goes, I might not win that $10 the first day. He says, but you give me a week or a month or whatever, I'm going to get that $10. And, in the meantime, this guy's here like every day. And that's kind of the philosophy we have here. And you can see all those people that were here. We retain those customers, and it's not happenstance. I mean, it's a direct strategy, and it works extremely well.
Thank you to Andrew for pulling up those videos, and to Sean for shooting them.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do it all again here in a little over a month, because we'll have
I know. Jeez.
that first week of March Madness,
Yeah.
which this place is going to be packed again. That is one of the best parties, and that Thursday, Friday of the first weekend.
I got to tell you, I like that a little better.
Yeah.
I do, yeah. Well, because it starts at 9:00 in the morning.
Yes.
I mean, yesterday, by 3:30, I'm like, man, let's get going here. Jeez, I was like torture all day. And I'm thinking, like, how about those people back east? They got to wait till 6:30 for that kickoff. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I'm glad we're in this time zone.
Right.
This works way better.
Why not 12:30 here and 3:30 there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're asking the wrong guy. But I look forward to March Madness, especially the first 2 days, and then
Yes.
third day I actually enjoy more because I can actually watch the games. Those first 2 days I don't have that much of a chance to watch it, but Saturday I can watch it, and then Sunday starts. People start leaving. It's not as big of a party, but the basketball is a little better on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. And the teams that won the first day,
Right.
then you get to
Right.
see them up again Saturday and Sunday. How was the ticket writing? Because that's ironic because Brendan Gaughan's show is coming back this week. They'll be back here at the South Point studio. And he was there writing tickets for you, right?
We had the 3 Gawns all in a row. Brendan, Michael's son, Jake, Michael's grandson, and Johnny, Michael's grandson. And we got a picture. I think Vinny put out a picture of Vinny and I with those 3 guys. And I think there's another one of Michael with his son and 2 grandsons. And, it's it's a family tradition. But, listen, we love Brendan and we love busting his chops. So we're always trying to steal $100 out of his drawer. So he's not, we just put it in somebody else's drawer, so we just, Brendan, he wants a balance every year. And I think one year he didn't balance and he was like livid, so anyway.
We got to get a collection of tweets because I mean, you're talking about the South Point and it's not just you. I've seen a million tweets about this place from yesterday already. And that was one that I actually saw pop up that it was a nice little story about Brendan Gaughan and the ticket writing and everything.
No,
so.
he loves it. He looks forward to it every year. As a matter of fact, the day before, I heard he was a little sick. He might not make it in, but he came in. He said, just it's so important to him to do that. So, it's great, and really, it's a great family, and a lot of people don't know. They say, well, it starts with Michael Gaughan. Well, to tell you the truth, it starts with Jackie Gaughan, Michael's father. He was just one of those kind of guys, gregarious, open with everybody, and of course, it's just followed that tradition from Michael and his sons and grandsons. So.
Love it. Definitely. And Gone Racing back on Thursday this week, one of the best NASCAR betting shows that you can watch.
And since you mentioned it, let me just say too, my ticket writers did a fantastic job. I mean, it's intense, and there's always a lot of questions. People don't understand. They're coming out maybe once a year.
Right.
You got a lot of props. They need it to be explained, and that's just the way things are. And again, that in this place starts with Michael Gaughan. He doesn't tolerate any rude employees or anything. That goes from valet to the porters to the ticket writers and dealers and whatever. You have to show patience, and those people did an absolutely fantastic job.
And when we talked about the 3:30 kick, that means, they probably had lines.
Oh God.
From what, 10 a.m.
Earlier than that.
Even earlier. When did you really notice that the book was completely full?
Well, I got in about 7:30 yesterday, and it started. I'll tell you, if you wanted a seat in the book, you better got one pretty quick, But of course, like I said, we had all the parties and everything, so I don't think anybody was, stranded anywhere, But if you wanted a good seat, you better get in there pretty early. But it started picking up right after that.
Okay, so by like 7:30, 8:30, and we just saw that video of the sports book, and you could tell there was no empty seats.
No.
A lot of people standing.
There's standing room only, in the sports book itself,
Well, let's take a look at next year's odds quickly, and you haven't gotten any bets on that yet, have you? In the championship?
That's funny. I just checked. I got bet on Arizona, so I'm not sweating that one so much.
What do they know that we don't know?
I don't know. I think we had a lot of people from Arizona come to town is what it was.
Okay.
So, and they got a new coach. I have no idea what their quarterback's going to be, but that's, if they kicked off today, I'd be sweating Arizona. I'm not going to sweat it much.
Did they also bet on the Wildcats to win the college basketball? Because that would be interesting.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
They said, "Well, I'm betting. I might as well take a little bit of the Super Bowl."
That makes a ton of sense. They're probably the best team, I would say, right now. But
Pretty impressive. They're still undefeated. Big matchup tonight with them against Kansas. That should
Yeah,
be a really
right.
good
They're
game.
favored at Kansas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small, 1.5-ish,
Yeah.
but Chris, it looks like Kubiak is official. He did kind of announce it at the end of the game. They asked and finally got it out of him. He said he's coming here to Vegas. What do you think of that move? That's their final. There was 10 head coach jobs open, and now that kind of seals that up.
Well, I think has a terrific resume, and listen, the Raiders have been doing things, haphazardly, I'd say, for about 20 years. Really go back to like that Rich Gannon Super Bowl, and that was 2000, I think, maybe something like that. Anyway, but since then, they've really been in the doldrums. Now they got Tom Brady, and I think he has a big voice, in the operation. Brady's been successful in everything that he's ever done, and, listen, I grew up in Pittsburgh. We hated the Raiders, but now that I'm here in Las Vegas, I still don't love the Raiders, believe me, but I don't want to see them be terrible. I mean, I think it's a good representation of this city if they're at least competitive, and vying for a playoff spot every year.
Right, definitely.
So,
Brian had an interesting a rumor that he had heard come out right after the Clint Kubiak. Ryan, quarterback position?
Oh, yeah. It was kind of going into the weekend. It was Derek Carr had kind of said that he would contemplate coming out of retirement for the right head coach in the right situation. And that head coach would be, well, not necessarily specifically, but he does have familiarity with Clint Kubiak. He does have familiarity with the Raiders organization. So if the Raiders wanted to draft Fernando at 1 and let him sit for a year, or have the quarterback competition, or not even draft Fernando Mendoza at the 1-1, maybe trade the pick or do something else with it, and bring Derek Carr back to kind of lead the way for the black and silver. But what would your thoughts be there, Chris?
I would not want Derek Carr. I don't think, he's had his day, and he was okay, but he wasn't much more than okay. Now, I don't know what else they should do. I mean, I personally, and don't listen to me, I don't know what I'm saying, but I personally, I would probably try to trade out of that number 1 pick and get a whole bunch. I mean, I think you could trade him and Crosby, and you could build that roster. I mean, look what Seattle did. I mean, that roster needs a lot of help up and down the lineup. But I think that they could do that. I mean, like I said, you have to have the right guys. First of all, making the trade, getting the value, and then once you get the value, I mean, we've been talking about the Jets. Vinny's not here. We're talking about the Jets have had great draft capital for like the last 20 years, and they've never exploited it.
Right.
I mean, they've blown it. So it's this piece, that piece, and it all has to fall in line. I think that would be the way I would go, but like I said, don't listen to me. I mean, these guys study these films and tapes and do their evaluations. They're much more knowledgeable than I am in this kind of stuff.
It'll be interesting. I mean, really, the Fernando Mendoza is the only real quarterback that's being talked about in this draft, and then next year's supposed to be the class. So depending on if teams are.
Now, I like Mendoza.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. I think he's going to be good. But again, you throw him in. Again, Sam Darnold's a great example. He bounced around until he found the right coach and the right circumstance. And I don't know. Maybe Kubiak would be the right circumstance for a guy like Mendoza, and having Brady as a GM, maybe that would put all the pieces together. I think that could easily happen.
Well, I think Derek Carr would be a great guy for him to be under as well. So I don't know if it's possible if they could make it work, but I mean, to Ryan's point, Derek Carr looked like he was going to have the best season of his career with Clint Kubiak in New Orleans, right? Yeah. And then but we got to look into how bad that injury was, because
was that the first couple of weeks where they looked like they were going to be the best team in the NFL?
Yeah,
and things fell apart quickly.
I think it was a good 3 or 4 weeks. People were talking about that team.
I also think their personalities would mesh pretty well, Fernando Mendoza and Derek Carr. Just to kind of the leadership mantras that they have, and I think that would be a good pairing, but not saying that the Raiders should do it.
Yeah, I think Carr is like a pastor or something like that, and we know that Mendoza is also, very faithful in that sense. So maybe it would be a good match. I don't know.
Well, I'm coming to Vegas. You don't always know how it's going to work out for some of these guys,
No.
but feel pretty confident that Mendoza will be okay in Las Vegas
I hope so.
and not get into any
I
trouble.
don't think he'll be at the strip clubs every night if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I am curious about a different team that plays football here in Las Vegas, and that would be the Running Rebels, or I guess the Rebels of UNLV. And it was announced that the North Dakota State Bison would be joining the Mountain West in football only in 2026. We'll hear more about it from Matt and Everett tomorrow. But Chris, what are your thoughts on the Mountain West adding a 10th team in football this year?
Yeah, I don't like it.
No?
I mean, no. I'll tell you. I mean, from the point of North Dakota State, here they are every year for like the last 15 years, something like that. They're fighting for a national championship at their level.
Yep.
Now it's North Dakota, for God's sake. Okay, they're not gonna vie for a national championship, on a national scale. I mean, listen, maybe they would. I don't know, but I highly, highly doubt it. But I think you have to kind of understand where you are, and I think that's a great tradition, a great team, great everything. And I think now what they're going to be fighting to get out of the Mountain West every year. I mean, to maybe make a bowl game and go 6-6 or something like that. I think it's a big mistake. I talked about it with Nevada,
Right,
the UNR.
yeah.
I thought they should go back to the Big Sky. I don't know. I think these guys, they just, the shiny bright lights, just attract them. And I don't think it's a well-conceived plan. It's probably good for the Mountain West, but I'm not
I
sure
think
it's
so.
good for North Dakota State.
I do think it'll be good for the Mountain West, who just signed a pretty good deal too, TV deal. So we'll see. I bet James Madison has a lot to do with this, right? And how they have had so much success
Right.
moving up. But who also?
James Madison, you're in Virginia.
Yeah.
That's a big population. You're in the middle of a huge population center. You're in North Dakota. Where are you recruiting from? Minnesota. That's fairly big population. But then Montana. Nebraska, Idaho. I just don't see like having the number of athletes you're going to have access to. I don't see that happening.
Well, and Signetti had a lot to do with
Sure.
James Madison's original
Right,
success, and
right,
then
yeah.
in the FBS. But we'll see. That is interesting. We were just talking about some of these bigger schools kind of going back down, and now we're seeing FCS want to make the jump still.
Yeah.
But all right,
Is that
Chris,
picture on our screen?
I was just gonna say before we let you
There
go,
we go.
here we have a picture from yesterday.
Yeah. That's me, Johnny gone, Vinny, Jake gone, and Brendan gone. So, yeah, proud to be, well, we're not quite members of the family, Vinny and I, but we're cousins or something like that.
And you have them come help and write up tickets all day on Super Bowl. Do they do it for March as well?
I don't think so. As a matter of fact, Jake's been working for me for a couple months. He's moving over to marketing. And Johnny worked for me for a while. They're moving him. Like those two, like super nice kids and both very, very smart. And the family wants them to learn the business everywhere. So they worked for me for a while. And then, they both have, Jake's moving on as of tomorrow. And Johnny's moved on, about a year or so ago.
I love it. I love the concept and
Yeah.
everything because I know Jake and his sister Emily
Oh, do you?
very well. Yeah, they went to Gorman. I actually coached Emily.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I knew Johnny a lot more than I knew Jake, but I've got to know Jake lately. Just super nice kid.
Yeah, they are. And they work every department
Yeah.
and learn it all.
Yeah.
And, I know Emily was even driving to Mesquite for a while.
Really?
Yeah, and working there, but good concept. Now going to marketing with his mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to say one more thing about the ticket writing and all of them, but how yesterday went. But we'll let you get out of here.
Okay.
Finish up, and you had a long day yesterday. How many hours
baby.
were you here? From 7:30 to
So about 9.
okay.
Yeah.
a very long day.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the way it goes. Yeah.
You deserve a day off or two, Chris.
I'll take
You
it.
might have to take your days off this week. But we'll see you again Friday.
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe.
That was our football frenzy, right, Ryan? And we are bringing.
I don't know if we have basketball frenzy, how much I can contribute, but whatever.
It's time. It's time we get caught up on all the college basketball, right?
Yeah.
Football
Starts today
ends,
for me.
and then we go really heavy on college basketball, which Ryan and I are going to talk a little bit college basketball when we get back here after our break. Thank you again for stepping in. Thank you to your staff for doing a great job again yesterday, and everybody who contributed, came out to the South Point, had a good time. We appreciate everybody supporting the South Point here in Vegas. We'll be right back, Ryan and I, on the other side, talking college basketball here on Sports by the Book.
Heading to Las Vegas to catch the action at Allegiant Stadium? Skip the traffic and the sky-high room rates of the Strip. Book your stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. The South Point is located just 7 miles away from the stadium, and it's a quick trip up the freeway, making it an affordable rideshare or taxi ride. And don't worry about getting here when you land in Vegas. We offer a convenient airport shuttle to get your getaway off to a stress-free start. Shuttles are also available on Raider game days for a small fee. So whether you're rooting for your team or seeing your favorite band in concert at Allegiant Stadium, South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa is your ticket to all the excitement.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back, everybody. Checking in now with the chat. Thank you. If you are watching us live, thank you for jumping in. Love to hear from everybody. We want to hear about your best bets. We're going to kind of break down ours to put a bow on Super Bowl 60 because I know Ryan gave out all plus money bets, so we got to talk to him and see how that fared out for him. I know it was pretty good because there's a couple that I saw cash for sure. But before we do that, Ryan, let's talk about the poll question that we have for today.
Yeah, we did want the viewers' thoughts, and we gave you kind of what we may or may not have had to suffer through for the first 3 quarters of the game. But 3, 6, 9, 12. How deep into field goal props did you delve? So 0, were you rooting for more touchdowns in the game? Did you have at least 1 field goal bet? 2, not such a bad game. Or 3, would it be the best game ever for you if you had that many field goal props? We did have Robert kind of answer to start the show. First field goal, first scoring play of the game being a field goal for the Seahawks. Did get a winner there for Robert. So obviously, vote in the poll. Let us know in the chat what you had, and we'll give you a shout out there. So, but yeah, we'll kind of go through what we did and how we did for Super Bowl 60.
I wish I would have had that field goal one too. That was one of my losers because I did have the first score being a Seattle passing touchdown. But overall, good. Now, mine aren't all plus prices. Mine are more minus 110, kind of just regular props, but it did go 6-2 on the whiteboard. Defensive and special team touchdown getting there, though, plus 270. That one definitely helped me out. But overall, yeah, very, very good day. Ryan, what do we got for your plus money props?
6 and 5 on the 11 plus price prop board that we gave out last week. So did not get any other score. It was a first score passing touchdown in the game there to A.J. Barner. The Patriots were the first team to turn the ball over. Thank you very much there. Total combined interceptions. Thank you for the overrule of the fumble, scoop and score to a pick 6 there. So over 1.5 interceptions. We did not get a trick play or an injured quarterback and get a third player to have a pass attempt in the game. Neither the Seahawks or Patriots scored a first half touchdown. So the rushing touchdown in the first half did not win there. Total sacks by the Seahawks over 3.5 was a winner as they got 6. Kayshon Boutte was limited to just 1 reception for 21 yards. Not sure where he really went throughout the game. So lost that one, but Matt Collins was the leading receiver for the Patriots, ended up getting 6 receptions, so over 2.5, getting a plus price there. And then Ramondre Stevenson, yes, touchdown, and scored a touchdown before Kenneth Walker, who did not score a touchdown in the game. So Ramondre Stevenson becomes the first kid from Las Vegas, Nevada, to score a Super Bowl in the touchdown, or score a Super Bowl in the touchdown, score a touchdown in the Super Bowl there for Ramondre Stevenson. So proud of that Centennial grad, and even though it was a high school rival of mine, but yeah, proud to say a Las Vegan has scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl there. So all those, plus the NFC winning the Super Bowl from back before, plus the Drake May interception with the Seahawks money line, plus a Kenneth Walker MVP there, resulted in a 14-unit win there for Super Bowl Sunday.
Ryan, that is a crazy middle. You went for Stevenson to score before Kenneth Walker, hit that, and hit Kenneth Walker MVP.
Mm-hmm.
To get both of those, kind of maneuver that in, that is some wild stuff, but very good. Yes, I'm with you on that interception over 1.5. I did need that one too. Patriots team total under 20.5 was probably my best bet and biggest bet there. Combined sacks for me. I got plus 105, gave it out at plus or minus 120. Sorry, Drew Dog. I actually have a picture too. Stevenson rushing attempts. I was getting nervous because they were continuing to hand off the ball to him, but under 14.5 cash. May passing attempts over, and then did not get there with Douglas though. You got your Matt Collins leading receiver for Patriots though. So overall, good day. We'll have to check in with Mr. Matt Neverett. Hopefully he's not too bummed after the big game yesterday. He will be on the show tomorrow though. We're going to do a lot of college basketball with him, kind of catching up. UNLV coming off a big win over Grand Canyon. So we'll talk to him about that and just the Mountain West as a whole, kind of where he sits and where their power ratings, so to speak, are. But then we'll get his thoughts on the Super Bowl and and his team. True Dog.
We'll have to bust that back out if he's wearing Patriots stuff tomorrow too. So. But we did get some thoughts in the chat on what their winners were. We got Drew Dog over 3.5 field goals in the game, getting even money winner there. JR did mention the alternate lines that he laid over the weekend. So he mentioned that he mentioned to you last week. But Seahawks minus 9.5, getting plus 170. We did have Jay Cornegay on the show saying that he liked the Seahawks to win by at least 10. Double-digit bet there. So that one was a 210 plus price here at the South Point. And then JR was also curious about the Seahawks minus 14.5. And that would have been a 3-unit winner. Plus 310 was that price there for Seahawks minus the 14.5. So plenty of prices were some winners yesterday. So hopefully a good day for our viewers, as it was a good day for us.
Yes. And under barely stayed alive there, but it did. So broke that streak we had going with overs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. 3 straight overs in the Super Bowl. If it had gone over, it would have been the longest such streak of overs, 4 straight overs. But that obviously, as you mentioned, did not happen. We got 42 under that 45.5.
Just one more. If one of those field goals would have been a touchdown for Seattle, especially in that first half.
We got our first first points of the game, 12 points from field goals, and then we got 30 points in the fourth quarter alone. So, second half being the highest scoring was an easy winner there.
Well, I know Matt did have that one,
Yep.
so that's good. He did like that one a lot. All right, let's go to a couple college basketball. I really just have 2 plays. If you would like a number of a game, please let us know in the chat. But I'm eyeing 2, and I'm taking a dog here with NC State. I like this team. These 2 mirror each other. They're very similar. So NC State at Louisville. And I think they can keep it close. They're getting 6.5 points. NC State has won 11 of their last 13. They're actually on a nice little 6-game win streak. They've been really good covering on the road. And as I said, they mirror each other. They both push the pace. They like to run. They're fast on offense. And I mean, NC State's even better at not turning the ball over, but neither team really turns the ball over. The great equalizer, the 3-pointer, NC State is one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country. Louisville, fantastic shooting team, really just field goals though. So I'm going with the Wolfpack here, taking the 6.5. That is one of them. And then I'm taking an under here with Valpo and Drake, 8-9-7, 8-9-8. I'm going to go under first half, 67.5. I do like the full game under 144 as well, but both these teams play really good. The Beacons are top defense. They're 102nd on defense. They're 303rd pace of play. They really take their time setting up their offense, 18.4 seconds on that side. So I'm going with an under. Drake, pretty good offense. So that's why I'm going first half here, because things get out of control. But I do think they'll be able to set the pace early on. So under first half in that one. All right. Before we get out of here, Ryan, you don't have hockey. We got men's starting on Wednesday. We'll be looking at the Olympics, but you taking a few days off of sports betting?
Yeah, just a little bit. We do have something to mention. Along with Matt and Everett being on the show tomorrow to talk UNLV and everything going on in the Mountain West, we do also have 6 teams in Major League Baseball having their pitchers and catchers report to spring training. So not only am I wearing a Carolina baseball jersey, because no Duke, Carolina takes down Duke with a game-winning shot on Saturday.
Yep.
But we do have baseball season coming up, and so that is pretty exciting, and we'll hear more about that from Matt and Everett as, again, spring training, pitchers and catchers report the next 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 6 teams report tomorrow, and then we get spring training action, which I don't recommend actually betting on, but at least exciting to get back into baseball time.
I know. Last year was it's a grind, but it was a lot of fun handicapping and doing every single day of baseball. So I'm looking forward to that again this year, and just like we do with hockey. So we'll get everybody kind of familiar with all the moves that have happened this offseason with MLB.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly have to lean on you and Matt for that, but catch us all up there for baseball. So, all right, that is it for us today. Did we have any requests before we get out of here? I know the big game is Arizona and Kansas, which I'm kind of intrigued with Kansas. I don't think that's getting enough points at home, but we know that Bill Self, this is like his best spot to be in, a dog at home. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm going to wait and see. I don't know. Is that scary? Trying to wait and see if Kansas gets a lead? Basketball is it just swings. You know, you have these swings where one team will go on a run. So I'd like a little bit more, but I think the numbers are right there, both side and total. So no pregame, maybe a little in game there.
Well, we saw them be a home dog earlier this year against Iowa State, when Iowa State was regarded as a top 5 team in the country, and they kind of blew them out of the water.
That's true.
Don't think it'll necessarily happen here with the Wildcats, but yeah, definitely anticipate a good game here at Kansas. Did want to go through ticker trivia presented by City Light Shine, available at Lee's Discount Liquor, Total Wine, and here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. Was an Olympic question for you guys today, because on this date in sports history, 2018, February 9th, 2018, the 23rd Winter Olympic Games opened in Pyeongchang, South Korea. Which 6 nations made their Winter Olympic debut at these games? It was a pretty difficult one, as a lot of these Olympic questions are. But for the first time in their history, Ecuador, Eritrea, Kosovo, Malaysia, Nigeria, and Singapore sent athletes to compete in the Winter Games in 2018 in Pyeongchang. All 6 nations are also currently participating in these current Olympics going on in Milan and Cortina, Italy. So your answer for Ticket Trivia, presented by City Light Shine, available at Lee's Discount Liquor, Total Wine, and here at the South Point Hotel and Casino, all in Las Vegas, was Ecuador, Eritrea, Kosovo, Malaysia, Nigeria, and Singapore made their Winter Olympic debuts back in 2018.
I think Vince stumped everybody because I didn't see very many guesses in there. That was a tough one.
That was a very difficult one. We tried to get Chris. He did. Well, I did not know. So, yeah, it was a very good one from Vince today.
As always, we'll have more trivia throughout the week for you guys here. All right, I'd said that's it. Just whiteboard and out. I did see Kansas and Arizona, but I didn't see anything else. So, whiteboard, best bets of the day. I'm going with 2. Keeping it light after a very heavy betting day yesterday with the Super Bowl. I am taking the points here with NC State against Louisville, and I'm going with a first half under. Valpo and Drake under 67.5. And that's it for us on this Monday. We will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Myself, Ryan, and Matt Neverett. But before we go, Ryan.
Well, just a couple things. I did want to mention that there is a 7 available for NC State in the market. If you are able to get that price, maybe getting a push there if it lands 7, or if you only can get the 6.5, you can follow Alex. The results of today's poll, going with 3-6-9-12. How deep into field goal props did you delve? So 0 field goal bets in the game. Obviously rooting for more touchdowns. 1 field goal prop, 2 field goal props, or 3 field goal props. And we had 41% of the chat saying that they had at least 1 field goal prop in the game. So good on you guys, because I'm sure it was a winner unless you bet no field goals. Then that's unfortunate. Yeah, but we'll. I did also want to answer Robert. I have not looked into college hockey, but if that is something that you guys would be interested in, I can attempt to.
I saw that too, and I was thinking, oh, we might be able to talk a little college hockey, little college baseball, as well as my dad does a lot of handicapping for college baseball anyways. But yeah, we could try and look into those two as we're moving forward. But okay, that's it for us on this Monday. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. And 10 a.m. for the rest of the week, Monday through Friday here on Sports by the Book. We are moving our Fridays to the early slot to match the rest. But thank you, everybody, for joining us live. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you to Chris Andrews, Sportsbook Director here at the South Point, for joining us. For the crew, and Jerry, Sean, Vince, and Drew Doc, thank you, guys. Ryan, enjoy your night off. Just watching some college hoops. And we'll be back tomorrow. I'm Alex White. See you again here on Sports by the Book tomorrow.